Σε μια περίοδο βαθιών γεωπολιτικών ανακατατάξεων και αυξανόμενων αβεβαιοτήτων, ο ρόλος των διεθνών θεσμών στην Ευρώπη επανέρχεται στο προσκήνιο. Το Συμβούλιο της Ευρώπης, θεματοφύλακας των ανθρωπίνων δικαιωμάτων, της δημοκρατίας και του κράτους δικαίου, καλείται να προσαρμοστεί σε μια μεταβαλλόμενη παγκόσμια τάξη πραγμάτων. Ποιοι είναι οι στόχοι του οργανισμού και πώς αντιμετωπίζει τις νέες προκλήσεις, απαντά στο euronews ο Γενικός Γραμματέας του Συμβουλίου της Ευρώπης, Αλέν Μπερσέ.
General Secretary, hello, and thank you for joining us here in Euronews. Russia's war against Ukraine has reintroduced war to the European continent. From the Council of Europe's perspective, what does security mean right now when human rights and rule of law are under direct attack?
That's a huge problem, and that's why the Council of Europe took the decision to expel Russia after the full-scale invasion in 2022. And it helped us to remain really effective for one central issue, one central question. It is all about accountability. And speaking about accountability, we have with the European Court on Human Rights a very important pillar ensuring that it is a reality. We have a lot of cases addressed at the moment, violations of human rights addressed by the court in the case of the context of the war in Ukraine. We have the second pillar is the register of damage and the claims commission, and also all the discussion third pillar about the special tribunal. All this must make sure that the discussion about accountability and the reparation will be made on a solid ground.
International organizations were created to avoid crisis, though many of them right now are weakened or at least sidelined. Do you think we are witnessing a systemic crisis of multilateralism?
We are just witnessing a kind of rupture, in the old order, that's clear. We have an international order based on what was made after the Second World War, and it was stable a long time, maybe sometimes too stable, and the gap between the reality on the ground, the evolution of the world and institutions was maybe always a bit bigger. And now with the UN, with the Security Council, with the veto, we see that we have a lot of important crises not really well addressed because it is somehow a bit blocked. We see other organizations having also some problems because they are blocked maybe for the reason that the principle of unanimity is also blocking some steps. And we have some organizations like the Council of Europe that we have also our problems, but we are able to deliver on concrete elements. And I think the most important thing is to consider that we need to work more together between international organizations and to see who is able to deliver at most and to do this also for others. It's exactly what we are trying to do. I'm also intending to have a stronger collaboration with other multilateral regional organizations. In America, for example, we have the Organization of American States. We are in contact. We have the ASEAN in Asia. We could have also the African Union where we can work with and to see with different contexts what we can deliver. But one thing is really important. We know all alternatives to an international order based on rules. We have alternatives. Just that we don't want to live in the alternatives. We don't want to live in a world where, force and violence is dominating. We want to live in a world where rule of law and peaceful dialogue is dominating. Peaceful relations and dialogue is dominating. And the only way to promote this is to adapt, maybe to make some changes in the international, organization, but to make sure that they are able to deliver now.
And let's discuss a little bit the rupture that we're witnessing in the West right now. The transatlantic alliance has been a cornerstone for European stability. Right now, how vulnerable do you think is Europe when its security depends so heavily on developments in the United States?
It's clear that we need to improve the situation. It's clear that it has been probably stable too long without to think about what it means to have a stronger security for Europe. And I see right now that, countries are rearming. The investment in defense are much stronger. It will be much stronger the next year than it was the case in the last years. That's a good thing, and I think it's legitimate because the continents and the countries, they must be able to defend themselves. That's one point. At the same point, if we have strong rearming countries and stronger armies, and at the same time, backsliding democracies everywhere. Okay, I see, on the static view it's okay, but what does it mean in 10 years? We invest a lot in armies, and we have maybe in 10 years the democratic processes that are weakened. Maybe we have an extremist group after manipulated elections taking the power. I mean, it makes sense to have stronger armies and stronger power, military power, only if at the same time we are making stronger institutional control and stronger democracies, rule of law, to control this power in the interest of the populations. And that's what we call democratic security. I mean, it's a comprehensive concept on security. It's not only defense and military and armaments. It is also strong institutions. It's just a question of investment. We need to invest in this and to protect democracy. We are launching at the Council of Europe what we call the New Democratic Pact for Europe. It is what? It is making democracy more resilient, facing the new challenges.
So, as you said, calls for Europe to strengthen its independence are growing louder and louder. But do you think that Europe can strengthen its independence right now without weakening or even breaking its ties from the United States?
No, I think it must be possible to have both. We are always in a world where we think it should be 1 or 0, it should be black or white. I think it can be 1 and 0 and black and white. I mean, it must be possible, you know, not just to abandon possibilities that we have, but to work on different levels. It must be possible for Europe to become more independent. And please never forget that Europe, I mean, the economic level, population, society's level is very high. I mean, Europe, a consolidated Europe would be by far the strongest economy in the world. I mean, we are also a bit underestimated at the moment, and we must also make clear that we can be confident of what we can do. Just let's do this together.
Thank you very much for this discussion.
I thank you.
Το ΝΑΤΟ ξεκινά μια νέα στρατιωτική προσπάθεια με την ονομασία Arctic Sentry. Στόχος είναι η βελτίωση της ασφάλειας σε μια μεγάλη περιοχή του αρκτικού κύκλου. Το σχέδιο ανακοινώθηκε λίγες εβδομάδες μετά την απειλή του Ντόναλντ Τραμπ να καταλάβει τη Γρυλανδία, προκαλώντας σοβαρή κρίση εντός της Βορειοατλαντικής Συμμαχίας.
Most of us in Europe and in the US agree in Canada that there is a lot of value in sticking together. Because NATO is there not only to protect Europe and Canada, but also the United States. I mean, for the US to stay safe going forward, they need a secure Arctic, a secure Europe, and a secure Atlantic. And for Europe to stay safe, of course, we need, of course, this close cooperation, transatlantic.
Ανώτερος αξιωματικός του ΝΑΤΟ απέρριψε την άποψη ότι το Arctic Sentry είναι απλώς μια προσπάθεια κατευνασμού του Αμερικανού Προέδρου. Αρχικά θα είναι η ονομασία που δίνει το ΝΑΤΟ για τις στρατιωτικές ασκήσεις στην περιοχή. Δεν περιλαμβάνει τη μόνιμη ή ακόμη και την μακροπρόθεσμη ανάπτυξη στρατευμάτων στον αρκτικό κύκλο υπό τη σημαία του ΝΑΤΟ. Οι Ευρωπαίοι σύμμαχοι ελπίζουν ότι αυτή η πρωτοβουλία, καθώς και οι συνομιλίες μεταξύ της κυβέρνησης Τραμπ και της Δανίας, θα επιτρέψουν στο ΝΑΤΟ να αφήσει πίσω του τη διαμάχη για τον έλεγχο της Γρυλανδίας. Αν βρεθείτε σε κατάσταση έκτακτης ανάγκης, ξέρετε ποιον αριθμό να καλέσετε. Η 11η Φεβρουαρίου είναι η Ευρωπαϊκή ημέρα 112. Καθιερώθηκε από την Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση το 2009 για την προώθηση του αριθμού έκτακτης ανάγκης.
112 is an international number you can call for an emergency, but only in Europe. And the benefits of that is that when you're in another country, like Italy or something, like to say, or Spain, and you have an emergency at that moment, you don't have to think about, okay, what's the number right here.
Στις Βρυξέλλες, όλοι οι εργαζόμενοι στην υπηρεσία υποδοχής κλήσεων έλαβαν ένα μικρό δώρο ως ένδειξη εκτίμησης. Μία μπάλα αντιστρες. Αυτό μπορεί να αποδειχθεί χρήσιμο, μιας και η δουλειά είναι ιδιαίτερα απαιτητική. Το 2025, οι τηλεφωνητές στο Βέλγιο απάντησαν σε πάνω από 2,5 εκατομμύρια κλήσεις. Ακόμη δημιουργήθηκε μια εφαρμογή για κινητά τηλέφωνα. Οι χρήστες μπορούν να επιλέξουν τον τύπο βοήθειας που χρειάζονται.
Er staat ook een chatfunctie voor mensen die slechthorend zijn of die een spraakgebrek hebben of die door omstandigheden niet kunnen praten. Je kunt er ook medische informatie insteken. Dus bijvoorbeeld, ik ben diabeticus, dus dat weet de 100-centrale, dat duidelijk, dat er daarmee rekening moet gehouden worden. En er staat ook een alarmfunctie op, dat kan geactiveerd worden door de 112-operator om u gemakkelijker terug te vinden als u buiten bewustzijn bent.
Οι αρχές του Βελγίου ενθαρρύνουν το κοινό να κατεβάσει την εφαρμογή. Αυτή τη στιγμή, μόλις το 5% των πολιτών τη χρησιμοποιεί για να υποβάλει κάποιο αίτημα.
Αρχαιολόγοι στο Ηνωμένο Βασίλειο ανακάλυψαν τα πρώτα στοιχεία που αποδεικνύουν ότι ο άνθρωπος έφτιαχνε φωτιά περίπου 400.000 χρόνια πριν. Από καιρό ήταν γνωστό ότι οι αρχαίοι χρησιμοποιούσαν τη φωτιά πριν από περισσότερο από 1 εκατομμύριο χρόνια, αλλά παρέμενε ασαφές πότε ακριβώς οι άνθρωποι έμαθαν να δημιουργούν και να την ελέγχουν οι ίδιοι.
We have this evidence for a fireplace. We have next to it archaeology artifacts made by Neanderthals. But what really makes this site extraordinary is the discovery of these two little fragments, and this is just a tiny little fragment of iron pyrite. So this is a mineral that can be used for striking. You strike it with flint, and it creates sparks. So it's part of a fire lighting kit. So this is evidence that not only were Neanderthals using fire at this site, but they were also they were making the fire using flint and pyrite.
Η αρχαιολογική ομάδα πέρασε 4 χρόνια αναλύοντας τα υλικά για να αποκλείσει τις φυσικές πυρκαγιές. Οι δοκιμές έδειξαν θερμοκρασίες άνω των 700 βαθμών Κελσίου και επανειλημμένη καύση στην ίδια θέση, γεγονός που αποδεικνύει ότι μια εστία χρησιμοποιήθηκε πολλές φορές. Άλλα απολιθώματα της ίδιας ηλικίας βρέθηκαν στη Βρετανία και την Ισπανία, παρουσιάζοντας χαρακτηριστικά που συνδέονται με τους Νεάντερνταλ.